It is the 11th of the 11th, 2024. 11/11. And some people are making a big deal of the date. There are some persons who will definitely be doing something noteworthy on this day. But for me, it was just a coincidence that I came across it. But what was no apparent coincidence is the fact that just a quick glance at X, Twitter. I'll never be able to get this X in my mind. Maybe because, I'm from the old school where they would say, if X is this and Y is that, what is the sum of X and Y? Anyway, I digress. So, X has revealed something that, it bothers everybody from the Caribbean and everybody who goes on cruises. As a matter of fact, everybody who just wants to live their regular lives. And that is the whole thing of hurricanes. And now they are down to S. Yeah. So they did predict that there would be 11 named storms in the Atlantic basin this year. And Raphael is still kind of looming and trying to figure out if he's coming or going. And here we have Sara. Thank God it wasn't Sheri, because I'd have just about lost it. But anyway, so I thought about my colleagues who are actually sailing this week and sailing into the Caribbean basin and, of course, touching my beloved Jamaica land. And I remember as we had our conversation just before they departed, my friend said to me, the male of the couple, said to me, I've always cruised in this time, always cruised in November, and we have always been fortunate to dodge the hurricanes. And I went back to my good book of memory and I looked on all the cruises that I have done for clients and even for myself. I'll talk about mine a little later. But for those clients who were sailing in the hurricane season, I realized how fortunate we have been in having them dodge hurricanes. So last month, we had a client who did a 4-night sailing out of Port Canaveral last month, October. And it was so funny. I mean, there was nothing funny about it, but if you understand. And forgive the forgive the fact that my video is wobbling. I tell you, you need to see my makeshift studio and my shoulders are slumping. Very conscious of that. Need to fix that. Yes, so my tripod is sitting atop a bar stool thingy, and this wonderful contraption, it just doing the rocking dolly. If you know, you know. So anyways, yeah. So my clients were sailing out of Port Canaveral on the 18th of October. And can I just tell you, Milton had just ripped through parts of Florida. And the days leading up, of course, I am doing intense praying because I never want my clients' trips to be hindered or disturbed, particularly because a lot of my clients are flying into the States from Jamaica. And you know how it is, especially when you're doing 160 or 50 odd to 1 for the exchange rate. Those of you who understand the pain of conversion will understand that. And to have your cruise cancelled because of force majeure, acts of God, right? So, and of course, here I'm going to just segue, but it is actually a very important part. I have the conversation every time. I was about to say often, but every time regarding travel protection. But people will be people. Decision makers are those who will say, oh, nothing is gonna happen. Oh, I'll take my chances, etc. So to substitute for travel protection, I pray hard. Might sound like a couple, but what else can I do? Anyway, so they dodged the hurricane. They got in like 2-3 days after everything had cleared up, and they had a wonderful sailing and they got back to blue skies. Very, very happy about that. My colleagues who are sailing now, yes, Sara is intending to come by in 7 days. But guess what? In 7 days' time, their cruise will be done. I'm so happy for them. And then again, too, we have the Thanksgiving sailing out of New Orleans aboard the Norwegian Getaway. Oh, that's going to be a getaway. And fingers and toes crossed that, they will avoid the storm. But I must tell you something very important. Our cruise lines, our captains, our cruise companies, they're floating hotels. They move. And so when they see a storm come in, guess what? They head to the other side. They take you out of the storm. Like, this is not something you have to sit there and wait for. So, my strong suggestion to you is what I gave to clients of ours who sailed and there was an impending storm. The vessel was kind of hovering and deciding whether or not to go into Miami and disembark clients a day or two earlier, or just to take them out at sea. And of course, the advice I gave them is the same advice I will give whenever you're faced with a storm at sea and the cruise line decides that, listen, you can disembark in the city, in the area, on the port of call where you boarded, and figure it out. Or you can stay on board, be our responsibility, go out of the way of the storm with us, let us feed you, wine you, dine you, let us give you all the perks that you didn't have before, because it is just a courtesy to clients. And maybe you might be on board like a few of my friends who were on the Sun Princess and they had to stay on board for an additional 2 or 3 nights. How bad can that seriously be? Yeah. So my advice seriously is book with me, your dedicated cruise professional. I will help you to ride out the storm, dodge the storm, or select the best day to keep you away from the storm. Like, how much better does that get? But in all sincerity and in all seriousness, always, always, always add travel protection to your trip. Not only for cruises, because sometimes the flights can't go either. It is just a foolproof method to ensure that your trip is covered. Flight delays, missed connections, hotel stays, the whole gauntlet. Cover, protect, secure your trip. Because guess what? You really don't want to be out of pocket. And if you really, really, really do not know what to do, contact me. I am your travel advisor. That's what they pay me for. Well, actually, you will pay me. But that's a story for another day, because as you know, Sherry has lots to say. Ciao for now.